Hello and welcome back. I really hope you had a great time working through our first worksheet. Please take the time that's needed to really fill it out. It may seem tedious or you may think, I already know this stuff, but it's crucial to making sure that you set up solid foundations, and you're going to need to rely back on that worksheet as we progress through this course. So if it's something that you struggle with or you're just not confident in the value that you can provide, please reach out to me. I really want to make sure that we develop the confidence needed here, because I guarantee you have value and that you can really and truly support someone well. So today we're going to talk about time management. Time management is extremely important, but often it is something we don't take seriously enough. So how often have you worked an 8-hour day, but only actually were productive for 1 to 2 hours? I don't know how many people would actually admit that. I think most people think that when they work 8 hours, they're probably productive for at least six, right? Like that seems like, I put in 6 hours of work and there might have been some chatting with coworkers or, bathroom run or whatever it is, right? There are studies that show that the average full-time employee only works 3 hours per day. That's kind of outstanding, right? As entrepreneurs, we have the chance to really dial in our time management and productivity so that we can work less but have full-time results. One of the most popular productivity tools is to-do list. Now, to-do lists can definitely be productive, but they aren't necessarily the best way to manage your time alone. They are a great tool to supplement other forms. So I'm not against to-do lists. I definitely have to-do lists myself. My favorite and probably one of the best productivity tools is time blocking. Time blocking is one of the best methods for managing time and your day. Some of the most successful people swear by it because it is designed for focus, and we want to be focused during our minimal amount of work time. When you time block 20 hours of your week, you can see the same output as at least 40 hours of what someone else might be putting in. So when you really dial in your focus and your productivity, you're going to be able to start being like those people who are like, I work 15 hours a week, but you're going to be bringing in full-time income from your clients. Now, as we walk through how to do this, remember you always have to be flexible and adaptive to what happens throughout the week. So time blocking is a basic structure and it's a good place to start, but things happen, life happens, client emergencies happen. So we just need to always be flexible and adaptable with this process. The more that you practice time blocking, the better you are going to become at estimating how long tasks actually take you. Because as you'll see later in this course, when we start talking about proposals, we want to know how long something actually takes us versus what we think, And so this is a great way to start playing around with that. Now, what I want you to go ahead and do is open up your Google Calendar or your Microsoft Office calendar and look at what you have in there. What are you scheduling in your calendar every single week, or are you? And you can do this in a written journal too. Okay, so what we're going to do is create a new calendar, and I'll create a tutorial for how to do this in Google that you'll find in the resources. And you're going to just label this calendar time blocking. Now, what I want you to do is start with your high level priorities. So that's going to be family time, working out, maybe writing for you or getting outside, things that are your non-negotiables. So what are your non-negotiables every week? Or what, if you had a dream business, what would you prioritize? Now I want you to take those things and we're going to put those into our schedule first. Okay. So maybe we're going to say from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. every night is family time. That's when we have our dinner. That's when we kind of check in with each other. Maybe we play a family game. But I want you to go ahead and put that in your calendar and know that that's when you're going to do this, right? Or let's say you work out every morning at 10 a.m. That's what I do. It's in my calendar. And unless something really important comes up or there's a meeting that a client cannot reschedule, it doesn't get moved. And so that way I know this time I have scheduled for working out. Or, if you want to put hiking in there or whatever it is, what is important to you? What are your non-negotiables? And I want you to put that as a reoccurring appointment in your calendar right now. Then after you do that, we're going to create bookend templates for your day. Okay, so I don't know what time you get up. It depends, and also if you have kids, you might have like school runs, just, who knows what your schedule is. But I want you to at least schedule a half an hour every single morning, 7 days a week, for your morning routine. And this is something that's also going to be non-negotiable in your business, because now as a business owner, you have a lot more flexibility within your day. And this is an important aspect to make sure we start our day well and that we're taking care of ourselves. A lot of entrepreneurs get burnt out, and I don't want to see that happen to you. And then at the end of the day, and this could be before your family time, it could be after your family time. It really depends on what works best for you. I want you to put something in there, whether it's your nighttime routine or it's yoga or it's reading a book or a bath or whatever, something that's going to disconnect you from work. And so, if you're working with someone internationally, you might have a client meeting after that family time. But whenever your work is done for the day, I want you to clarify that on your calendar and then add an appointment in your calendar where you're going to do something to disconnect from your work. Now, the next step we're going to do is to set aside time for both deep and shallow tasks. So there are times during the day when you're going to be more alert, you're going to be more focused. And this is when we are going to put deep work on our calendar. So I can't tell you when this is. You really have to just be aware of yourself. When do you seem to be more motivated and more into your work? And that's when I want you to put, just call it deep work or whatever you want to call it on your calendar, Monday through Thursday, whatever your work schedule is. And then what you're going to do is the shallow tasks, things that when you're not as focused, you can do. So maybe it's just tedious work. Maybe it's, it just kind of depends on what type of work you're doing, but you're going to be able to categorize this as we go, where you need to be really focused, and other things that are just, it's simple work, simple to do, not a lot of brain power goes into it. So not all hours of your day are equal. And that's something to consider as you schedule these deep and these shallow tasks, right? Our brains naturally need a break after 90 to 120 minutes of focused alertness. That's a long time to stay focused, which is also part of the reason that people are only working 3 hours a day during their full-time corporate work job. And then one thing you can do is for these shallow tasks, the tasks that don't need quite as much focus, is add blocks in there for reactive tasks each day. And as much as possible, I really want you to stick to these. So pick a time during the day that you're going to respond to emails. Pick a time where you're going to respond to phone calls. Pick a time when you're going to ideally schedule all your meetings, and then stick to it as much as possible. Now, as you bring on more clients, what you can do is you can say, from 11 to 12, I work on, this client's work. Maybe from 2 to 3, I work on this client's work. And that way you can communicate to them, and don't tell a client a specific time, but you can say, I work on your projects in the morning. I work in your projects in the afternoon. So, that's kind of when I'm going to be communicating with you, just so they have a heads up. As independent contractors, you don't have to give times, and it's just kind of a courtesy thing. But that's why I also encourage you, don't say the specific time that you're going to be working on it. You can just give a general, I'll check into it this afternoon, or, but also you need to set boundaries where clients know you're not going to be checking those communication channels the second you wake up in the morning, because you are a business owner and you get to set those boundaries for yourself and for your business. So now what I want you to do is write down your daily to-do list, for work, for home, for family, social. See what kind of things that you need to be doing every day and start plugging those in as time blocks. And so what you're going to eventually have is this full calendar that shows you everything you do. And, the more detailed you get here, the more you're just going to feel relaxed. You're going to know Fridays at 11 a.m., you start doing laundry. Or there's just going to be things that get done without you thinking about it. And it's less decision making for your brain to have to go through. And it just helps you feel in control of your life and in control of your business. And so really taking the time to schedule out when you're going to do what is crucial. And I want you to schedule out this course. When are you going to take time to learn how to build your VA business, and stick to it? Just some tips here as you work through your time blocking. make sure that you schedule in your breaks and not just lunch. Oftentimes I see these full schedules and the only little break is like this 15-minute lunch, okay? So what I want you to do is in between client work or in between those deep focus tasks, I want you to schedule at least 10 to 15 minutes, whether that's you just going out and sitting on the deck, you're walking around, or you're going to listen to some music, or you're just going to sit in silence, have a cup of tea, whatever that is for you, schedule in those breaks. And make sure that you overestimate how long tasks are going to take, especially in the beginning when you don't know. And so if you think a project's going to take a half an hour, schedule an hour, because it's going to cause stress is if if you only schedule a half an hour and you're only halfway through it and you're like, I didn't schedule enough time, I had to jump on this call or go work on this client's work. But if you schedule more time than you think you need, it gives you that buffer. And if you were wrong, if it really did take 30 minutes, well, now you have 30 minutes to figure out, like, do you want a longer break? Do you want to get ahead on some work? Like, you have that control in your business. And so always overestimate what you think something's going to take. And then make sure you put down time for, relaxation, learning, because as business owners, you need to keep up, but you also need to take care of yourself. And so whether that's, self-care Saturdays or maybe what I do is every morning I have a 30-minute block where I just either I listen to a podcast or I read my book. And it's something that just keeps me up to date with what's going on. It's getting my brain working. Sometimes it's personal development, professional development. It doesn't matter, but I want you to take time for downtime, relaxation, and learning. And then set an overflow day. So like I mentioned a little bit earlier in this call, is your schedule might be Monday through Thursday. Now, I encourage that because it gives you Friday to kind of like, let's say you had a big client task or there was this whole technology issue that happened. Now, Friday is the day that you have some time to jump back into that project and, complete it. If we have our schedules booked out Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and then we have family time or soccer practice, whatever it is, it's going to become really stressful when something doesn't go to plan. So make sure that as much as possible, have overflow time. You could put overflow time, in the afternoon every day. I prefer it to be on all day Friday, but that's up to you. Just kind of figure out what works and feels good to you. And then, like I said, you need to be flexible. You need to be adaptable. As you start going into this deeper and running your business, you're going to realize that what you thought you needed is probably not what you need. So just move things around. That's the fun thing with calendars is you just slide them around. Or if you're using your paper notebook, just adjust it for the next week. You'll get there and you'll figure out what works best for you. Either you're in control of your calendar or your calendar controls you. So take time to think about which one of those feels the best and how you want to implement time management into your business. So your homework for tonight is to create your daily and your weekly schedule, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks.